I didn't apply for the job. I offered to work there for free. Now, let me explain. As crazy as it sounds, this is way back 18 years ago. Now, in the last video, I did share how that 18-year career came to an interesting end. But in this video, I want to share with you the 3 reasons I feel that my approach to getting hired at that job worked out. So back a little over 18 years ago, I was interested in working in the whole digital marketing space. I didn't have a lot of experience. I was attending various workshops and seminars for entrepreneurs. I remember going to one in Colorado, another one in San Diego, and I was really excited about working in the e-commerce space. Was learning WordPress and purchasing courses online. Way back then, yes, there were courses online. I'll have to share, somewhere here I do have a course that's, I think it's two big paper binders of content from Corey Rudo, but I'll share that in an upcoming video. Now, in this example here, what I did was I was sending resumes and wasn't having any luck. I remember stopping in to visit the company. Looked like a fun place to work, really outrageous, that tech culture that you often read about and see online, and just didn't have any success going that route. And then I remember reading something by the marketer and business strategist Jay Abraham, and he talked about one of his principles, risk reversal. And he mentioned it's such a challenge for companies. They've got to go through this hiring process, and even when you hire someone, you really don't know if it's a good fit until they've been working at the company for some time. So I put together a cover letter that looked like an advertisement. It's been a while, I probably have it saved somewhere, but I had a headline and a sub-headline, and basically I offered to work for free. And the idea was that I would work for free for an entire week. On Friday, we would shake hands, go our separate ways, and if it seemed to be a good fit, then the company could reach out to me the following week. And some of the logic in that sales letter was, why should the corporation take on all the risk? Why should they assume all of the risk? They can have all these interviews, invest all of this time, do background checks, do all of these things, and at the end of the day, they still don't 100% know if they've made the best selection. So I set this up as basically like test driving a new vehicle and see if it's a fit, see if it works out. And there's an example Jay Abraham gives about this principle, and it talks about 2 people selling a horse. And in one case, somebody says, here's this horse, it's amazing, it's well trained, it's friendly, you're gonna really love it, but of course I would say that I'm biased. I'm the owner of the horse and I'm trying to sell it. How about this? I'll deliver the horse to your house, you try it out for a week, I'll provide all the food, everything to take care of the horse for the week, and at the end of the week, I'll return to pick him up. Versus somebody else who's selling a horse where you get to look at the horse, you pay for it, you take it home and cross your fingers it all works out. Who's assuming the risk in those 2 examples? And that was the approach that I had here based on Jay Abraham and what he had taught. So I'd sent that in a FedEx letter. Now, not sure if that worked today, but back then, I thought it would stand out. So sent that in one of those overnight FedEx letters. But what I think really made things really click was there was a coworker of mine in the company I'd worked before that knew somebody who worked at this company I was applying to, and knew my passion about digital marketing. I would always share all the things that I was up to and what I was learning. Reached out to that person, passed my resume to them. They then internally submitted it. And as you know, that works. There's always a finder's fee or some type of referral, but there's also a risk on their end. They've got to trust the judgment of the person they're sending over. But at that time, both of those came into play. One, the resume was internally submitted, and this stupid thing keeps zooming in on me. All right. So they get the resume and then they get this FedEx letter. And I remember years later, my manager was super amazing, learned a lot from him, would share that story about getting that letter about working for free. So there was that. There was that memorability factor of it, sending in the FedEx letter, the risk reversal, Now, thinking about that, I don't know if a big corporation is going to do that. There's probably a lot of legalities in even doing that, but it was a thoughtful, I think, approach to that, minimizing the risk of the employer. And then next, number two, would be that referral, that internal referral from networking, which today is going to be one of the most effective ways of being hired. From what I hear, I believe it's, I don't know, over 70, 75, 80% of opportunities are found through referrals, through somebody that someone knows. So that's an important aspect that's still applicable today. Maybe not so much a FedEx envelope with your cover letter and resume in it, but that might be one option. And lastly, I think this was probably one of the biggest factors. All of this compounded, they had the compound effect with all of this, was at that time, there weren't a lot of people that knew about online marketing, digital marketing. It was really in its infancy at the time. So when I came in to interview, I was talking about websites that I had built. I had talked about an ebook I had created, the software that I was using, how I set up the software to recognize the payment from PayPal, how it would see the confirmation, it would look at the subject line, it would look at content in the body of the message to make sure that it was legitimate, so then it would then send out a code so somebody could access the product, which now, as you probably know, it's much easier with landing page software and all the softwares that are out there. But back then it was a little more advanced in setting that up, and I loved being hands-on, was all of that. And as I'm sharing all of this, I remember at the end of the interview, they had said, wow, we really don't get many people in here that have any experience. It's fairly new, and you're really passionate about this. You know a lot of all these different aspects to it. And I was just talking about things I had planned as far as with increasing the conversion rate and marketing and all the stuff. And they're like, wow, you may know more than we do. Now, it turns out that was not true. They're working at a huge e-commerce company at a super high level, but it was really flattering and cool to hear that, and was fortunate enough to work with them directly. But they did bring me on, and I remember receiving that call of, hey, we'd like to offer you the role. And I had asked, what does it pay? We never discussed that. Well, let me call you back. This is human resources, and it was like $10 an hour. And I'm like, hey, whatever it takes. I love this stuff. I do it in my free time. It'd be great to do it full time. And that's how I got started. Now, in that interview, backing up a few steps here, in that interview, I remember them mentioning something about the only role that they had available was an internship role. And I remember thinking, like, man, I was 35 years old at the time. So I was thinking, like, heck, I love the stuff. I'm passionate about it. I'll be the 35-year-old intern, right? Just like the movie, the 35-year-old virgin or whatever. But I think what really came through was that passion for learning. There weren't a lot of people with much experience. Now it's a lot different, right? You have people that are working at agencies. You have young people that have started their own companies. It's a whole different ball game. But I think what's still applicable here is having the passion, the excitement, enthusiasm, being somebody that team you're going to be joining wants to work with, and then also showing that you're willing to learn, you're excited about learning. For me, I had no issue with being 35 and working with much younger, brilliant minds. That's been the case my entire career, and that's never been an issue with me. I want to work with the best, regardless if they're older or younger, whatever it may be. So those are a few ideas. Is one, standing out, being memorable is important, because okay, maybe they can't take that offer of having somebody work for free for a week to test things out as a test drive, but it's going to be memorable. That would be a memorable approach to take. And number two, remembering the value of a network and somebody that can be in your corner, be your champion to put that resume through. That speaks volumes. A personal recommendation like that is super huge. And then also the way you present yourself. If you're passionate, enthusiastic, you're willing to learn, you seem to be a fun person that others would enjoy being around. At the end of the day, that's the main thing. But of course, you've got to be able to deliver the results and take on those skills and responsibilities and all those pieces that go with that. But I wanted to share that story because the last one was sharing how that career came to an end, and then I thought about it. I'm like, oh wow, that's maybe a unique story that I'll work for free and send that in as a one-page sales letter back at the time, sending that thing in the mail or FedEx. So keep that in mind. Stay positive. Wish you the very best in your pursuits and endeavors, and we'll talk again soon. Appreciate you. Have an amazing day.